All right, Dave, thank you for sitting down with me and just having a casual conversation. And how you doing today? Doing good?
Yeah,
Good,
yeah.
good drive in?
It was easier than expected.
Okay, good.
Because, you get on that 80-94 corridor and you always expect some kind of jam up, but today it was consistent.
Good.
Got here on time.
Good. I appreciate that, yeah. And I know the advisors do too. So how long have you been a client of Goldstone now?
Not even a year.
Not even? Oh, so we're right under a year. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm glad we're sitting down
it'll
early.
be October, it'll be a year.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we're coming up on it.
Yeah, coming up on a year.
So working with Fidelity and then now working with Goldstone, is it good and bad? Like, how was that transition? Like, what did that kind of look like? Or
I am happy I made the transition.
okay,
Because I
Glad to hear
was
that.
still, because of the amount of assets I had and stuff, I was kind of, I'm trying to remember what Fidelity called it, but one of their higher level status people. So
Yeah.
I had an advisor assigned to me, but we'd do quarterly meetings and it was just like, number, yeah, what's it, oh, okay, sounds good, see you next time.
I bet that didn't make you feel like you wanted to come back and talk to him.
Well, it
again.
was
You're
just,
like, do I need to come and talk to this guy?
It was just about those accounts and the numbers
Yeah.
in that account. It was nothing else. Okay, so it was interesting how I got introduced to Goldstone.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there watching TV one day and I'm flipping through the channels, and I get to, I think it was the PBS channel.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, there's this show on Goldstone on there, and it was just like, there's Anthony Pellegrino introducing Goldstone and going through that, and I'm like, wow, this is interesting. That sounds different.
Yeah.
And so then I reached out and came in for an initial meeting and was assigned to Justin and had an initial meeting. And I would have to say from day one, kind of like what I was at with my customers, you guys were at with yours. It's relationship building. You tend to care more about the relationship building first than the numbers, right?
And feeling what Anthony translated to you on TV, do you feel like that translated in person and stuff like that? Like the friendship, but then also the five worlds and what we told you we were going to help you with.
I say yes. There was a part of me, I have to admit, that I didn't expect all that to come out. That you kind of think maybe that's a sales status to get in to be able, but after we got involved and started working on helping understand my financial assets and that, and then working with Justin and Bruce and taking me down other paths and other areas, the meetings have been good.
Oh,
I mean,
good.
they advise, They really do advise and give you advice. And
I'm glad to hear that.
And if you say, sorry, I'm not interested in that, they're like, okay, they don't push you. They just maybe show you something else, but
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. And I've known Justin, he's been here over 10 years, so I've known him for a long time, and he's a great guy, and more than just a financial advisor, fiduciary advisor, you know what I mean? And
to me, it's personal and it's relationships. It's not all about the money and the numbers.
Yeah.
You know what? He's working hard on my behalf to educate me and to manage my assets.
Yeah. Glad to hear that. That's something that when we go through training and stuff like that, because we do monthly, quarterly, pull the team together and just keep everybody on the same page. As we always say, not that we're financial advisors in the industry or investment advisors, but we're leading the client.
Right.
We're confident that this is the right position specifically for you, and we want you to feel confident trusting us leading it. You know what I mean? And that's where that relationship is built.
And the one thing I've said lately is there's two different ways of looking at it. It's like, okay, there's that person that could be like, I know where I want to go with that money, what I need to do, so you guys help me get there. Versus, I don't know what to do. I'm not a financial guy. Can you guys help me? And you're kind of consulting, educating me, helping me as we go.
Try to educate you as much as possible, too.
And one other thing I'd add in there, too, you're always very conscious of my risk tolerance with that.
Yes, yeah.
That was a key thing, too, of, making sure they adhere to that.
And I know you, I'm so glad you said that. I appreciate it. And I appreciate your honesty, too. you've also attended some of our educational workshops too. How was your experience with that?
Very good.
Okay, good.
I mean, the content was good. I mean, it's interesting. It's educational, and one of the things I love about it, because I'm one of those guys, maybe because I'm at this age now, but sometimes I forget what they said and everything. Mm-hmm. And both of the ones I've gone to, I've come back to your people and just say, is there any chance I could have a copy of that PowerPoint presentation so I can keep reading it and reflecting on it? Sure, no problem. They get it to me.
Cool.
It is, yeah.
That's awesome. And then I'm so glad you said that too, because we always want feedback on educational events and stuff like that. And
I think the last one was so important, and if I was to give you feedback, I'd keep doing more like that because of what's going on in our government.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
You guys being able to give a different perspective versus just watching the news about it.
Yeah,
that means a lot.
Arguably, the news gives you no good perspective at all.
Right.
And then, so then you and I got to also chat in more of a less professional environment is the client event. How was your time at the client event last week?
It was really nice.
Okay, good.
It was nice because, you know what, Justin and I had a good conversation. We do that, but getting to meet people like you and Jan and and Emma was there and others, and getting to see the other staff that's here that don't interact with me when I come in for my meetings, and it gives you a better perspective of what this organization is really like, other than just the advisors and that. And so it was fun. I could have stayed there longer all night and talked to these guys.
I was saying, me and you stayed late. I'm like, I told the team, I was like, we need to make these things longer a little bit. We just keep talking and talking. Yeah. I'm like, I need more time with everybody.
Yeah, it was good.
That's good. I'm glad you made it out. And now I want to talk about giving back. And so you're a big time giver and of your time, and so you said you're unemployed, but you're still active.
Yes.
So what are you up to nowadays?
Well, the first thing is, after I parted ways with the company and stuff like that, I was like, wow, that's all I wanted to be focused on, was giving back to the community and helping others.
I love that.
And I actually did get a job up with a nonprofit organization up in Benton Harbor, where I was managing a government grant program with youth, 16 to 24-year-olds that had dropped out of high school, lived in impoverished living, had no jobs, have them get on a plan to get a GED and get on a career path and that. And that just felt so good to be able to help those like that. Did that for a while, and then the town I live in, it's not an incorporated city. We live in the village. It's part of a township. They came after me and started asking me to help them with stuff. So like I volunteered there it was about 2 years. We had to develop a 10-year master plan for the village of what we were going to do about it, things. And that was a lot of fun. And then just recently they asked me if I would help them start up a tree board and take over a tree board, because we have so many massive oak trees and stuff in the area. Some of them are getting aging. Mm-hmm. We have invasive species now and stuff like that. And so
that's awesome.
Yeah, you get to that point where you're lucky it's not about the money. Mm-hmm. It's about the challenge and wanting to give back and help others.
And I think out of everything we talked about, family and that is like the most important things you could be doing.
Yep.
Wow. So it sounds like you're living the dream at this point. Because I'll be honest, my dream is to get to your point where I'm just helping 100% of my time, donating my time away and efforts and stuff like that. And because part of culture here that I run is we also try to give back as much as possible and help. There's a bunch of organizations that we work with to help children that are off the streets and especially mothers, like single mothers and stuff like that. And because my grandma, when my grandma and grandpa got divorced, she was a single mother basically, and that was super hard. So always trying to active help people.
What's interesting, one other story I would share in there. One of the things that got me so interested and drove me into mentoring kids like that and stuff. When I first got to Chicago area and we were doing all the work in the in oil refineries, steel plants, stuff like that. Well, there was one of the leaders of the steel plant in Gary, Indiana. Vice president of the steel mill came up to me one day and asked me if I would consider doing some off-the-books mentoring of students at Gary, Indiana High School. I said, that would be interesting. He says, the main reason they want to do it is because everybody's being programmed in high school for STEM. You got to be an engineer, and then you got to get into management, you got to be the president. And they didn't have young kids getting into trade workers, and they were paranoid about losing the business to China. And so I said, sure, I'll do that. And that was very, it was nice. A little off the books and you know, on the side, just helping them understand the difference between, I would say, I did it 3 ways though, because he'd say, educate them between trade workers and engineers. And I said, okay, trade workers are physical. If these people are physical, I'll help them with that. Engineers, mental. But I'm going to help them see there's a path right down the middle called a technician, where you've got to be both physical and mental in a technician role.
You have some of the coolest stories I've ever heard. I was like, there's anything else? I just keep asking questions, and
it's been a life.
That's incredible. So, looking into the future, then, what does that look like for you as far as like volunteering and then retiring, but not declaring retirement
one of the part of stuff, both in my personal life and more so in my career, I've traveled so much, and I love traveling. I've traveled internationally in the U.S. I have it on my bucket list that I want to go to all 50 states.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I'm only at 38 so far.
Only at 38. Probably at like 8. No.
And it was...
That's so cool.
And I didn't travel much, when everything got shut down over COVID and that, and came out of COVID, and I didn't travel much. But now, in the last year, I've been out to Montana and South Dakota and up Minnesota and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, it's weighing on me again. I got to get back and start traveling.
I was going to say, you started traveling again?
I want to. I'm trying to figure out where to go next.
So out of the 38 states, which one is your favorite?
I don't think there's one that's exactly favorite.
Okay.
I have to say...
That might be a hard question.
I'd have to say I grew up in Minnesota. That's got to be good.
Okay. That's good.
But I was always a mountain guy. So it was
I'm a mountain guy.
It was my dream always to live in Colorado.
I love Colorado. I was just there last year.
And then I wanted to live in Montana. So a place like that. Some of Wyoming I love.
So do I. So do you like to hike and be with nature?
And then I was really into skiing too.
Oh, okay. Because I ski as well.
That's awesome. Yep, I was a wild backcountry skier.
That's awesome. So do you still ski now, or?
No, I haven't skied in about 7 years.
Oh, okay.
And that was another COVID thing, kind of all that. I never got back into it.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
And what was your favorite place to travel outside of the U.S.? You said internationally.
Favorite place was no question. This was a personal trip, not a work trip, because I've been a lot of work trips was Ireland.
Really?
I spent 2 weeks in Ireland.
Wow.
I flew into Shannon on one side of the country, and then 2 weeks later flew out of Dublin.
That's awesome.
As soon as I got back, I felt like about a week on the internet researching what it was going to take for me to move to Ireland.
That's so cool.
With the country so unbelievable, the people were so nice, and that was my best trip.
That's so cool.
By far.
My sister went there 2 years ago, and they did the whole. They went around. They rented a car.
Yep.
Her and her friends, and they went around. They were there for 2 weeks or whatever, and she said, "Yeah, it was incredible."
Yeah.
I think because then I flew out there and I met them in Italy, and she said that it was like Italy was her favorite, but Ireland was right behind it. And I was like, and I have never been. You know what I mean? So
it was unbelievable. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet.